Hi guys, my name's Michelle and I'm a student at the University of Ottawa, currently doing my undergrad in communications, and in this video I'm going to talk to you a little bit about gender construction, particularly in regards to online pop culture. Wait, I hear you saying, what does pop culture have to do with gender? I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? Just look down and you should be able to tell whether you're a guy or a girl, right? Your body will tell you whether you're biologically male or biologically female, or, for a few, intersexed. But there's a lot more to gender than that. Just head over to Chris Crocker's channel and he will tell you that being born with a penis doesn't necessarily make you a man. For that matter, ask any transsexual or genderqueer person and they'll tell you that being born with a particular set of genitalia doesn't necessarily mean that who you are, gendered, matches that set of genitalia. And B, it's not like babies come out of the womb knowing whether they're supposed to like pink or blue. Gender is a lot more than biology, according to my handy-dandy dictionary. Gender, one's characteristics or traits determined socially as the result of one's sex. Frank Schaap says that gender is a cultural fiction which we use to organize our reality. Our ideas about gender are just schemas which we use to build expectations about what situations we're getting ourselves into and how we should respond to them. According to gender role theory, we learn how to be feminine or masculine by internalizing society's expectations about what it means to be masculine or feminine. We apply these expectations to ourselves and others, and then the system self-perpetuates. Gender roles are pretty well entrenched in our society. There aren't many alternatives to traditional masculinity or traditional femininity, and those who do break the norm are shunned or made fun of. So how does society form these expectations? Well, in part, beliefs about femininity and masculinity are formed by us, the people. Little girls imitate their mother, and their mother is imitating her mother, and so it goes. But media have a huge impact on the formation of dominant ideologies in our society. Media have a far more basic role of helping to define the fundamental meanings of femininity or masculinity, and that's from this book, Introduction to Theories of Popular Culture. As Dr. Strangelove pointed out in class, we are created by the stories that we tell and the stories that we're told. So what stories are we told about gender? Well, that's a question you can probably answer yourself just from watching a few TV shows. According to traditional media, particularly television, women are supposed to be beautiful, caring, they talk a lot, they're sometimes petty or argue over silly things, they like to shop, they like babies. They are rarely in power over men and often dependent on them. Men, on the other hand, are aggressive. They like competition. They're a little bit obsessed with sex. They don't have that sensitive side that women have. They care about their careers and are often in positions of power. You get the picture. Television shows rely heavily on gender stereotypes to tell their stories. For example, is it mistake or happenstance that in Grey's Anatomy the most powerful surgeons are men and the women are the ones who often break down into tears? These images are way more than just entertainment for the masses. Through popular culture, our views of masculinity and femininity are shaped and reinforced, and only a select few create and produce the messages that we see on our TV screens or in the newspapers. Theorists from the Frankfurt School see pop culture as a site of struggle between subordinate and dominant groups in society. The media corporations and those they represent, in this case, are the dominant group. Pop culture is the battleground of ideological struggle. They believe that pop culture is designed to reinforce the status quo. According to Marxist theory, culture is produced by capitalist corporations and then passed down to subordinate groups. And the messages produced are designed to reinforce the superiority of the dominant group. This is the concept of hegemony. In semiology, the study of signs, Roland Barthes believes that myths transform history into nature. In other words, things that are socially constructed start appearing natural, like it's always been this way. So the myth that girls like pink and boys like blue starts appearing natural, like girls are naturally predisposed to liking pink, and boys are naturally predisposed to liking blue. So that's the stories we're told. That's where the internet comes in. Media corporations haven't really got their hands on the internet yet. The majority of messages here are user-created, whether these messages be blogs, videos, web pages, MySpaces, Facebooks, or anything else you can think of. Before the internet, being powerful meant having access to the corporate machines that produce the messages that produce our dominant ideologies. For the message that women can be powerful too, or gender isn't necessarily binary, male or female, to get out there, you would have had to have access to a system of message distribution, like a television or radio station. But now, you can have access to the system of message distribution 24/7, anywhere in the world, the internet. Which means that anyone can go online and say what they think it means to be a man, a woman, a transsexual, asexual, genderqueer, gender fluid, neutros, or anything else you can think of that's not written within the traditional binary system. You can use the internet to share your perception of your identity with anyone who will read, watch, or listen, and that's a very powerful thing. I mentioned Chris Crocker earlier in this video, and I really recommend you check out his channel. He's a great example of how you can broadcast a message that's alternative to the traditional ideas of masculinity or femininity, and gain a huge audience at the same time. And there are lots of other YouTubers talking about and displaying their views of femininity and masculinity that don't always fit within the traditional norm. So, does that mean that YouTube's like this new utopia where everyone can be equal and everyone's accepted? Well, not exactly. Unfortunately for Pierre Levy, YouTube is hardly a haven of collective intelligence. There are a lot of people out there who leave insulting comments, death threats, etc. on videos that show alternate views of gender, or comments that still prescribe to traditional gender roles. These range from death threat comments to "you're sexy" comments on the videos of female YouTubers. But overall, the internet is a place for free expression, where pretty much anyone can say pretty much anything they want. For the death threats that Chris Crocker and others like him receive, there are also many positive comments reflecting an acceptance of non-traditional views of masculinity or femininity. So YouTube, and the internet in general, may not mean that alternate views of gender are going to replace the dominant messages anytime soon. But the internet has introduced a growing number of voices and of pop culture artifacts that are really ready and willing to engage the corporate media in this struggle for meaning and bring more equality to our ideologies about gender. The stories that we tell are starting to compete with the stories that we're told, and that's really what pop culture is all about. The struggle between messages to define and alter our ideologies and our perceptions of reality. So, thanks for watching. If you want to know more, there's a link in the sidebar to my blog, which I talk more about this issue more in depth, and there's also a list of my sources there. So if you're like, where is this information coming from? Go to the blog, and you can find that out. In the sidebar, there's also a link to my professor's blog. He just wrote a book about YouTube, so you should check that out as well. Anyway, thanks. I hope it was entertaining, informative, whatever, and I'll see you later.